this lesson, you'll read and listen to a simple Spanish story, perfect for beginners and intermediates. Then, I'll break it down line by line so you can really understand every word and every sentence. Me llamo Elena. Hace 2 semanas llegué a Bogotá para estudiar español. Lo primero que me sorprendió fue la altitud. La ciudad está a 2.600 metros sobre el nivel del mar. Por eso, al principio, caminaba muy despacio para no cansarme. Desde mi ventana puedo ver las montañas verdes, que aquí llaman los cerros. No vivo en un hotel, sino en una residencia para estudiantes en un sector llamado Teusaquillo. Es una casa antigua, muy grande y bonita. Comparto el lugar con 3 personas. Clara, que es de Alemania, Kenji, que es de Japón, y Samuel, que es de Inglaterra. En nuestra casa tenemos una regla importante para practicar. Los lunes y los miércoles solo podemos hablar en español. Si alguien olvida la regla y habla en inglés, tiene que preparar el café para todos al día siguiente. Samuel siempre pierde, así que tomamos mucho café. Mi rutina empieza temprano. Por la mañana, camino hasta la escuela de idiomas. El aire es fresco y a veces hay un poco de niebla. En las clases, practicamos mucha conversación y leemos textos sobre la historia de la ciudad. Mi profesora, la señora Lucía, es muy paciente. Ella dice que aprender un idioma es como subir una montaña. Requiere esfuerzo, pero la vista desde arriba es excelente. A la hora del almuerzo, voy con mis compañeros a un restaurante local. Me gusta mucho probar la comida típica. Mi plato favorito es el ajiaco, una sopa de pollo y patatas que es perfecta para el clima de Bogotá. Es curioso porque en mi país no comemos sopa cuando hace sol, pero aquí el clima cambia muy rápido. En un solo día puedes tener las 4 estaciones. Por las tardes me gusta visitar las bibliotecas o caminar por el Parque Simón Bolívar. Es un parque enorme, el pulmón de la ciudad. Allí observo a la gente, familias caminando, personas haciendo deporte y músicos practicando. Los bogotanos son personas muy educadas. Siempre saludan con un buenos días y usan mucho la palabra vecino para hablar con la gente del barrio. A veces me siento un poco perdida por la gramática, especialmente con los verbos en el pasado. Pero luego recuerdo por qué estoy aquí. No solo para hablar un idioma, sino para conocer una cultura nueva y entender cómo vive la gente en este lugar del mundo. Mañana vamos a visitar un museo famoso. Estoy lista para seguir aprendiendo. Okay, now we're going to break it down line by line. So, the first sentence is Me llamo Elena, which literally means I call myself Elena, because me llamo is the standard way to introduce your name in Spanish. Okay, so next one. Hace 2 semanas llegué a Bogotá para estudiar español. In English, it would say, 2 weeks ago, I arrived in Bogotá to study Spanish. Now let's see it word by word. We have the first word, hace, which literally means it makes, because it came from the word hacer, the verb hacer. But in this case, it means ago, because it is used to talk about time past. Okay? 2 semanas means 2 weeks. Llegué, it's the preterite past of the verb llegar. To Bogotá, to study Spanish, para estudiar español. It is used here to describe a purpose. Now, here's some important nuance of grammar. In Spanish, we use the word hace plus some time, that for example could be 2 weeks, 2 semanas, plus the past verb to say something like X time ago I did something. Hace 2 semanas llegué a Bogotá para estudiar español. Okay, the next one. Lo primero que me sorprendió fue la altitud. La ciudad está a 2.600 metros sobre el nivel del mar. So the first part, we would say, the first thing that surprised me was the altitude. Lo primero, the first thing. Lo here, this structure, lo plus adjective turns into the thing that is. Lo que me sorprendió, that surprised me. And we have here sorprendió, which is the preterite of the verb sorprender. Fue, which means was, the altitude. Now, here's some structure tip. In Spanish, it's often used lo plus adjective plus que plus a verb. And one example of this, it would say, lo más difícil, adjective, que hice fue aprender, verb, los tonos en chino. Another example, lo mejor que me pasó fue mudarme aquí. Okay, the next one. Por eso, al principio, caminaba muy despacio para no cansarme. That's why, at the beginning, I walked very slowly so I wouldn't get tired. So here, por eso means that's why or therefore. And this refers back to the altitude, which we said here that the city is a 2,600 metros sobre el nivel del mar. So she refers to that. At the beginning or at first means al principio. And this is a common expression used in Spanish. Now, caminaba muy despacio. Caminaba means I was walking or I used to walk. It is used here in the imperfect past of the verb caminar because it is used to describe something that is habitual or ongoing or an ongoing past action. And muy despacio is very slowly. Para no cansarme. So as not to get tired or in order not to tire myself. Okay, the next one. Desde mi ventana puedo ver las montañas verdes, que aquí llaman los cerros. Okay. From my window, I can see the green mountains, which here they call los cerros. Entonces, desde mi ventana, from, desde, my window, ventana, window. Puedo ver, I can see. And here we have the verb poder plus some infinitive, which all these two things combined means to be able to do something. Puedo ver las montañas verdes, the green mountains, montañas verdes. And here we have an adjective agreement because montañas is a feminine which is in plural and verdes is a plural. So both had to be in plural. Que aquí llaman los cerros, which literally means which here they call los cerros. But in English it probably better say which are called the cerros. Los cerros means it refers to hills, but it is a local term for those mountains. Okay. Next one. No vivo en un hotel, sino en una residencia para estudiantes en un sector llamado Teusaquillo. I don't live in a hotel, but rather in a student residence in an area called Teusaquillo. No vivo en un hotel. I don't live, live in a hotel. Sino en una residencia para estudiantes, but rather in a student's residence. Residencia. We have here the word sino, that it's used after a negative statement to correct it. For example, no es caro, sino barato. No estudio medicina, sino ingeniería. Y bueno, en un sector llamado Teusaquillo, in an area, sector area called Teusaquillo. Here the word sector means area or district. Now, es una casa antigua, muy grande y bonita. It is an old house, very big and pretty. Let's break it down. Es means literally it is, a present of ser. We use here this because we're describing a permanent characteristic of the house. It's old house, it's a very big house, it's a pretty house. And we have here muy grande y bonita, very big and pretty. Now the next sentence. Comparto el lugar con 3 personas. Clara, que es de Alemania, Kenji, que es de España, de Japón, y Samuel, que es de Inglaterra. I share the place with 3 people. Clara, who is from Germany, Kenji, who is from Japan, and Samuel, who is from England. Comparto lugar, it would say I share the place. I share the place, comparto lugar. Viene el verbo compartir, the present of compartir, comparto. Yo comparto, ella comparte, nosotros compartimos. The place, el lugar, with 3 people, con 3 personas. Clara, her name, she's from Germany, que es de Alemania. Aquí, this word que es means literally who is from. Germany, Alemania. Kenji, we have again que es de Japón, who is from Japan. And we have an accent on the O. Japón. Japón. No Japón, sino Japón. And Samuel, que es de, who is from England. Okay. We have the next one. En nuestra casa tenemos una regla importante para practicar. Los lunes y los miércoles solo podemos hablar en español. Okay, in English. In our house, we have an important rule to practice. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we can only speak Spanish. Now, in our home, en nuestra casa, tenemos una regla importante para practicar. We have, una regla importante, an important rule to practice, para practicar. Aquí, el verbo tener está en presente. We have, tenemos. We have, tenemos. Una regla importante, an important rule. Lunes, Mondays. Miércoles, Wednesdays. In Spanish, days of the week take the article los, the word los, the article los, when talking about habitual actions. We can only speak in Spanish. Solo, only, podemos, we can't speak, podemos hablar in Spanish. Si alguien olvida la regla y habla en inglés, tiene que preparar el café para todos al día siguiente. If someone forgets the rule and speak in English, they have to make the coffee for everyone the next day. Si alguien olvida la regla, if someone, alguien, someone, forgets, olvida, forgets the rule, if es este sí, sin la tilde en la i. Tiene que preparar el café. Este tiene va con has to make the coffee. Tiene que, has to or must. To prepare, del verbo, the verb preparar. Café, the coffee, for everyone. Everyone, todos. The next, siguiente, next, siguiente, day. Ok. Samuel siempre pierde, así que tomamos mucho café. Samuel always loses, so we drink a lot of coffee. Samuel siempre pierde. He always loses. Pierde, loses. Always, siempre. So, and or therefore means así que. This is a common connector to express a consequence. Tomamos, we drink. We drink. It is the present of the verb tomar. A lot of coffee. Mucho café. Mi rutina empieza temprano. Por la mañana, camino hasta la escuela de idiomas. In English, My routine starts early. My routine, mi rutina. Empieza, it means starts and is the present of the verb empezar. Temprano means early. We have it here as an adverb, so it doesn't change form. Now, in the morning, en la mañana, camino hasta la escuela de idiomas. In the morning, I walk to the language school. Here we have I walk, camino, the present, the verb caminar. Hasta, here it means to or as far as this language school. Now, the next one. El aire es fresco y a veces hay un poco de niebla. In English, the air is fresh and sometimes there's a bit of fog. Now, let's break it down. The air is fresh. El aire es fresco. The aire, the air. Es means is and is the present of the verb ser. Fresco, fresh or cool. And here it's used as an adjective and you have to agree with the air, with air. Y a veces hace un poco de niebla. A veces, sometimes, hay un poco. There is means hay. A bit, un poco of fog, niebla. Okay, the next one. En las clases practicamos mucha conversación y leemos textos sobre la historia de la ciudad. In English, in class, we practice a lot of conversation and read texts about the history of the city. En las clases means in class or in the classes. En means in, and in English we usually say in class, but Spanish naturally uses the plural in the classes. It is something that is regularly used here. We practice a lot of conversation. Practicamos, the verb practicar, and it is in present. Mucha, a lot of. Mucha, a lot of conversation, conversación. And y leemos textos. And we read, leemos textos, text. Here, read is in present. About, sobre, about the history, la historia de la ciudad, of the city. Mi profesora, la señora Lucía, es muy paciente. My teacher, Mrs. Lucia, is very patient. In Spanish, titles like señor or señora often go with the first name in everyday speech. It is very common to say something like señora Lucía, señor Jorge, don Jorge, doña Lucía. And she's very patient. Is very patient. Okay. Ella dice que aprender un idioma es como subir una montaña. Requiere esfuerzo, pero la vista desde arriba es excelente. In English, she says that learning a language is like climbing a mountain. It requires effort, but the view from the top is excellent. So she says that. Ella dice que. Decir. Aquí tenemos dice, que es el presente de decir. Says. That means que. Aprender un idioma. To learn. El verbo aprender. A language. Un idioma. Es como subir una montaña. It's like. Es como climbing a mountain. It requires effort. Requiere esfuerzo. Requiere el verbo presente de requerir. Y esfuerzo means effort. Pero, but, la vista, the view, desde arriba, from the top, is excellent. But, the view from the top is excellent. A la hora del almuerzo, voy con mis compañeros a un restaurante local. In English, at lunchtime, I go with my classmates to a local restaurant. Entonces, a la hora del almuerzo, at lunchtime, voy con mis compañeros. I go with my classmates. Y la palabra voy means I go. Is the present of the verb ir. To a local restaurant, a un restaurante local. Me gusta mucho probar la comida típica. In English, I really like trying typical or local food. I really like means me gusta mucho. It literally means that it's something that pleases me. Y mucho is a way to say a lot or really. Probar means to try the typical food. And here, typical food means, or comida típica means, traditional or local cuisine, right? Okay, you have something interesting here in the next sentence. Mi plato favorito es el ajiaco. una sopa de pollo y patatas que es perfecta para el clima de Bogotá. In English, my favorite dish is ajiaco, a chicken and potato soup that is perfect for Bogotá's climate. Mi plato favorito, my favorite dish is ajiaco. Okay, here the word ajiaco. It is a traditional Bogota soup, and we have an accent in the E, ajiaco, which is a soup with chicken and potato. Una sopa de pollo y patatas. Potato, chicken, pollo. And in Latin America, papas is more common than patatas. In Spain, it's more used patatas, que es perfecta para el clima de Bogotá. That is perfect for Bogotá's climate. The next one. Es curioso porque en mi país no comemos sopa cuando hace sol, pero aquí el clima cambia muy rápido. It's curious or funny because in my country we don't eat soup when it's sunny, but here the weather changes very quickly. La expresión es curioso means it's curious, it's funny, or it's interesting. Curioso is a word that often means interesting or funny because of the context, not just curious. Porque en mi país no comemos sopa. Because in my country we don't eat soup. Porque it's because when it's sunny. Cuando hace sol, when it's sunny. Pero, but, aquí, here, el clima, the weather, cambia muy rápido. Changes very quickly. En un solo día puedes tener las 4 estaciones. Esta expresión en un solo día means in just one day or in a single day. Puedes tener, you can have. Tenemos aquí el verbo tener, to have. Y here que that is used in a general or impersonal you sense, like one can. The 4 seasons. Las 4 estaciones. Por las tardes me gusta visitar las bibliotecas o caminar por el parque Simón Bolívar. In English, in the afternoons, I like to visit libraries or walk through Simón Bolívar Park. Entonces, por las tardes means in the afternoons. Plural is used for actions that are habitual. Me gusta, I like, visitar, to visit the libraries, las bibliotecas. And now, we have here libraries in general because it's a plural, generic. O caminar or walk, caminar por el parque Simón Bolívar, through Simón Bolívar Park. Es un parque enorme, el pulmón de la ciudad. In English, it's a huge park, the lung of the city. Here we have something very interesting. Let's start with, es un parque enorme. It's a huge, an adjective, es un parque enorme. Now we have el pulmón de la ciudad, the lung of the city. Now the interesting thing here is that the word pulmón, lung, it is used as a metaphor for el pulmón de la ciudad. The next one. Allí observo a la gente, familias caminando, personas haciendo deporte y músicos practicando. In English, there I watch people, families walking, people exercising, and musicians practicing. Allí, there, we have an accent in the E. Allí, I watch, observo a la gente. I watch people. Familias caminando, families walking. We have here the ando, endo, indo. Here is used to describe what the people is doing. Personas haciendo deporte, people doing sports or exercising, and musicians practicing, músicos practicando. Los bogotanos son personas muy educadas. Siempre saludan con un buenos días y usan mucho la palabra vecino para hablar con la gente del barrio. Now in English, it would be something like, Bogotanos are very polite people. They always greet with the good morning and often use the word neighbor when talking to people in the neighborhood. Los bogotanos son personas muy educadas. Bogotanos are very polite people. And we use la palabra los bogotanos means people from Bogotá. And here the word educadas means that they are polite. Not educated in the sense of studying, but polite. Siempre, they always saludan, greet with a good morning, con unos buenos días. Y aquí tenemos una parte interesante. We have here an important part. y usan mucho la palabra vecino. They use a lot the word vecino. La palabra vecino means neighbor para hablar con la gente del barrio. Para hablar con la gente del barrio. To talk to people in the neighborhood. A veces me siento un poco perdida con la gramática, especialmente con los verbos en el pasado. In English, you would say, sometimes I feel a bit lost with grammar, especially with past tense verbs. We have a veces, which means sometimes. Me siento, I feel. This I feel, sentirse, it's in an emotional nature or mental state. And it's a reflexive verb. It is used perfectly here. Un poco perdida, a bit lost. And we have here that it agrees with the speaker because Elena, she's a feminine. So, perdida. No perdido, perdida. With grammar. Pero luego recuerdo por qué estoy aquí. But then I remember why I'm here. No es solo para hablar un idioma, sino para conocer una nueva cultura y entender cómo vive la gente en este lugar del mundo. In English, it would be something like, it's not just to speak a language, but to get to know a new culture and understand how people live in this part of the world. Esta parte, this part, which is, no es solo, it's not just to speak, para hablar a language, un idioma, sino para conocer una cultura nueva. But, this, in this case, sino means but, to get to know, conocer, the verb conocer, to get to know a new culture, una nueva cultura. Y entender, and to understand, cómo vive la gente, how people live. And we have an accent on the O, como. Mañana vamos a visitar un museo famoso. Estoy lista para seguir aprendiendo. Tomorrow we're gonna visit a famous museum. So let's break it down. Tomorrow, mañana, vamos a visitar. We are going to visit. Vamos a visitar, to visit. We have here this structure, ir a plus an infinitive, which is for talk about near future. I'm ready to keep learning. Estoy lista, I'm ready. Lista here again agrees with the speaker. She is a woman, a female, so she's lista. Ella está lista, no listo. To keep learning, para seguir aprendiendo.